House of the Dragon has quickly become one of the most popular series. The history of the Targaryens, while still seated on the Iron Throne, is chronicled in HBO's Game of Thrones spin-off series. And to put it mildly, the show has had some exciting moments. Today, we'll be discussing some moments that have shocked us the most. So let's jump right into today's video. Number 10. The demise of Lyman Beesbury. Various possible explanations exist for how the Green Council brutally assassinated Viserys' Master of Coins in George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood. Still, none of them were used in the show. This is surprising. Beesbury is killed on the spot when Criston Cole grabs him by the shoulders and pulls him too forcefully down in his seat. Unlike the usual throat-slitting or historic head-throwing, the council member's rolling tiny ball impales Beesbury's torso as it falls onto the table. The rest of the room ignores Criston's incompetence and the increasing pool of blood surrounding Beesbury's head for the remainder of the conference. Number 9. The heir for a day. The lone and glum object on this list that is verbal and not visual is nevertheless significant. The newborn Balon of Queen Aemma survives for a few hours before passing away. Prince Daemon always takes advantage of even a day's worth of arrogance. He gets wasted and goes out with his City Watch friends, referring to newborn Baelor as the heir for a day. The king is informed of this offensive remark, but he's rather not outraged and suspicious enough. Number 8. Rhaenyra and Daemon. The affair, subsequent romance, and marriage of this uncle and daughter have gained House of the Dragon fans to the point where it is essentially unremarkable. Despite once being far higher on this list, Rhaenyra's attraction and incessant affliction to Daemon were much more unsettling when she was a teenager in love with her uncle. Still, it is much more tolerable when two willing adults are around. Her teenage love was pure but objectionable. Since episode 1, these two have been making a variety of eye contact and conversing in High Valyrian as if it were their private language, essentially pleading with anyone to carry on the family tradition of incest. Low points include having sex on the beach the day of his second wife's death and having their first date in a brothel after Daemon killed his first wife mercilessly. The best parts of these experiences were getting married, avoiding killing Rhaenyra's first husband, Laenor, raising 3 genuinely normal children, and watching Daemon develop into a full-on wife guy. Overall, the situation was hilarious. Number 7. The fixation on childbirth. The first episode of House of the Dragon was brutally honest, including Queen Aemma undergoing a medieval C-section while still conscious. It is so nerve-wracking to watch. Brooke gives an excellent performance, as does Emma D'Arcy during Rhaenyra's birth in episode 6, and Nana Blondell later in the same episode when her character, Laena's fetus, becomes stuck and cannot be delivered. Although House of the Dragon may offer some insightful messages about physical anatomy and childbirth risks, Season 1 features an unusually high number of painful and difficult birthing sequences. There are other ways to depict the passage of time when covering 20 years in 10 episodes, like giving characters gray hair. It's a unique and striking instance of fantasy terror and would appear virtually identical in the contemporary setting when many viewers could experience labor and delivery issues, but wouldn't have to worry about being slashed by a sword in combat or being consumed by a dragon. Number 6. Larys Strong's arrangement. Even on a show that is simply bursting with incest, we're not here to kink shame anyone, but what Larys and Alicent are doing in the castle at night is, at best, extortion. The prevailing situation is enigmatic as well as intolerable for many people. This is a complicated power struggle between a man born with an impaired foot who cannot get enough of her beautiful, sweet feet and a literal queen who should be able to do anything she wants. But unfortunately, it is continually used by men. This is unfortunate. Larys murdered his entire family to prove his loyalty. Alicent is terrified of him because he appears willing to do the same to anyone who breathes too loudly in the queen's sight. Alicent removes her socks for Larys's arousal because she wants to know what Larys's spies are up to. She desperately wants to know their next move. They appear to have been engaged in this for years. As shown in episode 9, it is unhealthy and unwholesome for everyone involved. Number 5. R.I.P. Other Joffrey Sir. The day of Princess Rhaenyra's wedding is when Criston Cole changed from a star knight to the realm's top D-bag. At her wedding, Criston loses his temper, becomes insane, and kills Laenor's lover, Joffrey, there and then at the feast. first. He does so because he's enraged with envy over his lover's choice to marry someone else and still has affairs, but not with him. At least he feels horrible about it, but then Alicent seizes a chance to change sides. Although Criston is wrong at his job, the Queen would rather have a vengeful and unpredictable sad boy on her side than give Rhaenyra's soldiers another sword. At number 4, all the dismemberment. The first episode of House of the Dragon aims to immediately evoke the beautiful memories of Game of Thrones, which enjoys a bit of casual dismembering. Daemon administers justice to all types of criminals in his capacity as commander of the City Watch, typically by chopping off their body parts. Later, he cleanly splits the crab feeder in half and drags his organ-laden torso onto the battlefield. To prevent their execution and enable them to act as quiet spies for him, Larys Strong uses Daemon's intelligent techniques to amputate the tongues of King's Landing's prisoners. Number 3, the shtick of the crab feeder. In Westeros, there are many inventive and clever ways to murder people, but Crab Feeder's techniques might win the prize. In the Stepstones, Old Crabby is slaughtering Westerosi soldiers mercilessly, but not in the conventional sense. Soldiers who have suffered fatal injuries are held captive on the beach, where they bake in the sun and crabs eat their flesh. Their condition is heart-wrenching. The screams of agony are practical and useful, portraying the strange and drawn-out death these men experience, making this terrible not simple to look at. The transitions between King's Landing and the Stepstones in episode 2 and 3 are frequently jarring and feature a close-up of a crab. Please don't. Number 2, Viserys' decay. King Viserys has a problem, not simply because his parents were close relatives. After receiving treatment for an overflowing sore in the first episode, Viserys slowly and steadily deteriorates in front of our eyes. The audience sees him declining gradually. He loses parts of his body, one at a time. Firstly, his hand in the first episode, his entire arm a few episodes later, half of his face in episode 8, and finally his life in episode 8. What a tragic occasion. It is absolutely heart-wrenching to grasp. Viserys Targaryen, first of his name, was never given a definitive cause of death. Still, a qualified doctor who specialized in his profession told IndieWire that it was because his family is full of pure, unsufferable turds. May he rest in peace. Number 1, Corlys and Otto pimping out their daughters. Men in House of the Dragon wanted sons desperately so they could carry on their bloodline and dominate the empire. They do not want daughters at all. Upbringing daughters is an additional burden on them and a risk factor. If God blesses them with daughters, they have other plans. They use little innocent girls to forge political relationships, boost their social standings, and marry them off to much older men in the hopes that the older men will pass away and their father can steal their money. This is an absolutely ridiculous way to treat girls. This is how they use their daughters to strengthen themselves monetarily and physically. By instructing his daughter Alicent to enter King Viserys' bedroom and console him following the death of his wife, Otto Hightower metaphorically slid into the DMs of the monarch. Months pass during this Westerosi version of a you-up until Viserys finally agrees to marry the teenage Alicent and almost believes it was his decision. But before he proposes to Alicent, Viserys receives a proposal from House Velaryon in the shape of a baby named Laena. Even worse, her parents force Laena to date the king after being so eager to offer the girl up as a bride. Still, one is barely 4 feet tall and mentions the possibility of turning 14 shortly. Even though it's not incest, it's rather revolting. It is recommended in episode 3 that Rhaenyra marry her 2-year-old half-brother. Nope, it is insanely unacceptable. This concludes our list of the top 10 shocking moments of the House of the Dragon we can't believe aired on TV. House of the Dragon is an entertaining show with a beautiful plot and storyline. Which moment shocked you the most for being on TV? Who is your favorite character from the show? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching.